And good morning, Patriots. Good to see you because I can be seen and I can't see all of you, but I know you're there. Thank goodness, and I'll be in the chat in a second. And I guess I don't have to introduce Chris because he's already on the screen. Hey, Chris.
That's right. Yes, I put myself on the screen early, so I don't know. I just like the map. That's what it is. I'm a map guy. You ever notice that?
Apparently,
Yeah.
were you like Magellan in a previous life? Or like were you Christopher Columbus since you're Italian?
More like Captain Cook.
Captain Cook,
After a while, after a
heard your
while, people
ships
got it.
and
Yeah, after a while,
burnt the
people
ship
got
and hope for
annoyed
the
with me.
best. Is that what you did?
That's good. That's about right. And people got a little torqued off at me after a while, and you know what happened. Anyway,
Well, nobody's perfect. I mean, I think at least you had native girls to make things better, right? Isn't
what,
that what happened? They
what really, what
settled with
really,
the
bug,
natives.
what really bothered me was this mutiny over just a bunch of paper towels.
It happens all the time on Italian ships now. Apparently, just
That's
saying.
right. Yep. If I had Nancy Walker, though, it would have been a lot better to speak for bounty. All right, this is terrible.
Well, no, it's not. I guess the Italians. I guess the Italians aren't as bad as the French. I mean, the French, if you take them sailing somewhere and that someone hears a firecracker go off on shore, and next thing you know, they're abandoning the ship. It's just terrible how they do that.
That's true. That's true. And
You get
you're a
all these
firecracker.
sometimes. uh, so, speaking of firecrackers, man, what a weekend, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I gotta tell you, Donald Trump is that firecracker. The left tries to tell you how tired the guy is. The guy leads off a Friday, or Friday with Joe Rogan for 3 hours. Three
Yeah.
hours of free form talk radio.
And then he went to a rally. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
really? So,
it's amazing what this guy has done and can do in the
yeah.
name of getting things done. It's really weird, but this is why propping up Joe Biden was a complete joke. And this whole thing about the left trying to say, well, no, Donald Trump's the oldest candidate. Yeah, that's fine. Donald Trump's the oldest candidate, but the fact is, he's still a young 77 as opposed to Tim Walz being an old 60. If you think about
Yeah,
it.
I'm 62. I'm older than Tim, and I look at Tim, and we'll talk about Tim here in a bit because he and
I
the
got it.
other there's like there's like three people competing for the stupidest person on the planet. At AOC, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are all in that competition,
Yeah,
pretty much neck and neck at this point. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. So
yeah. Jamal Bowman's pretty upset that he's not even in the running. So
he's not even. Yeah, he's out of Congress anyway, so he's not going to have as much exposure. But yeah, I mean, uh, some of the former competitors, they're like, yeah, you guys aren't even close. I mean, at least you recognized that there was a fire alarm, even though you shouldn't have pulled it. Just saying, but you
right,
know. But anyway, so let's get into some of the current stuff. So I want to hit a couple things. I'm going off script, which I already. Oh, by the way, I'm
cool.
wearing George's shirt today. Born to Ride 45, soon to be Born to Ride 47.
That's
Right?
true.
I think so. Yes, I'm wearing it. So thank you, George. I always enjoy this. It's a crisp morning here in North Carolina, where, by the way, this week, today, apparently, I'm told, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris will be campaigning. Not here, thank God, but they will be in the States. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure they're not coming to anywhere like out here where real people live. They're going to be in the cities, pandering to the black population like she did over the weekend. So,
Yeah,
speaking of that, according to Kamala Harris, Chris,
right.
joy cometh in the morning. Did you see that she said that at a black church? Joy cometh in the morning.
Well, she did bring
So,
that joy, and again, she's really trying to walk back that whole kicking Christians out of her rally thing, and
boy, oh
that was a
boy,
big
not going to
blunder on
work.
her end.
Nope, it's not going to work. And then this morning, let's see, where was I reading it here? Kamala mocked after revealing another new accent in Philadelphia. I guess it's the Philadelphia cheesesteak accent, right? What does a cheesesteak sound like? Well, Kamala Harris sounds like a cheesesteak. So there you go. I solved that mystery right away. Too sweet.
Oh, again, she's going to come up with some new accents. Pretty soon, the next accent's going to be Russian or maybe Ukrainian because she needs to pander to Zelensky a little bit longer.
I
He
don't know.
hasn't done that in a
I
while.
don't think you can get that musky uh smell that Zelensky has. That Zelensky number 5, kind of
But it was that a mixture of aqua velvet and cocaine? Is that what it is?
Velvet cocaine and not showering for 2 weeks. That's the
Ugh,
con-
gross. That's got to be disgusting.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
who's a more
yeah.
disgusting. I don't know who's a more disgusting human being. Sometimes there's a lot of competition for that. It's always the stupidest person in the world. I think Ted Walls is up for that one too, and
Well, let's go
MSNBC
with
for that
some of the
matter.
stuff you got because I already kind of went off script. So let's go with what you have scripted. So let's go into it, Chris. What do you want to start with today?
Well, I'm gonna go a little unscripted, off script too, because what I didn't
Okay,
present earlier was because you mentioned Tim Walz, and
I did.
there isn't more of a disgusting creature than that guy running for office, disguised
Uh,
as your regular human being. But he decided to do what MSNBC did and try to compare the Trump rally over the weekend to the 1939 Nazi rally. Listen to this
oh
guy.
boy,
He
yeah, I want
this
to hit
guy
that too.
take
Yeah, go.
this guy takes himself way too seriously.
Donald Trump has descended into madness over the last few weeks. And I
Madness.
think some of you don't miss on this. Go do your Google on this. Donald Trump has descended into madness
Like, don't go do your Google on this. I had to stop for that one.
over the last few weeks. And I think some of you don't miss on this. Go do your Google on this. Donald Trump's got this big rally going at Madison Square Garden. There's a direct
He
parallel
does.
rally that happened in the mid 1930s at Madison Square Garden. And don't think that he doesn't know for 1 second exactly what they're doing there.
Well, what he's saying is the National Socialist Party of again the people who support the National Socialist Party of Germany did a rally at MSG. Well, this guy
Right.
supports the Socialists of America. Didn't this guy say again? He's trying to denigrate his National Socialist, but he did say one guy's socialism is another guy's neighborliness. So maybe
Yeah.
I can take that. It's fair game now. So I'm going to say this: if you say socialism is so great like neighborliness, then let's go back to 1939, where the National Socialists or the German National Socialist Party was popular there, and they had supporters here. Well, I guess you consider them neighborly now, don't you, Tim Walz?
So I want to hit this a couple times. Now I didn't know this. Did you know that there were Jewish folks actually praying at the Trump event? I'm pretty sure because I did actually study history. Well, I'm not a history major. I did study political science and competitive political systems. I don't think Nazis had Jewish folks at their rallies. Am I missing something on that, Chris? I think I'm pretty clear on that, right?
Unless Soros showed up, I don't think so.
So there were multiple Israeli flags, Jewish folks with the yarmulke. Is that how you pronounce that? Yarmulke?
I believe
Yarmulke?
so.
Yarmulke,
Yes.
yarmulke. Adam Sandler ruined it for me when he did his song for Christmas. It did. I don't know what he ruined the anyway, but I digress. And the other thing, I don't know if you have the clip of it. Kamala Mala. I don't know if you can see that because it's pretty. She's wearing the NSADP or whatever they are, the Nazi colors there. Isn't that great? She's got the Hitler brown jacket doing the Hitler R movements with the blood red in the background. So I ask you, Patriots, who's mimicking the Nazis here? Exactly. I mean, look at that.
I know.
Look at that. That's over the weekend. That's
her. That's her. Yep.
That's her, and that's those are the Nazi colors.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that suit over what the Harris campaign did this weekend or recently. You know, the whole controversy over her working at McDonald's and lying about it and things like that. There's no proof on either side. I understand that. But the campaign, again, these are people that tell you that Donald Trump is the lowest form of human being there is, and he says mean things, and he's disgusting, and what it says about you is you're horrible too. Well, that's fair game too. Did you see the picture that the campaign put up about Kamala Harris with the here it is, the picture of her with the McDonald's. Oh, let's see. I think Tony's frozen a little bit, but I'll talk to you about this here. Kamala Harris's Kamala Harris's campaign put out a picture of Harris in a McDonald's uniform, or at least what it appears to be a picture of her in a McDonald's uniform. And you saw these progressive sites going, "Hey, there! Now you cultists should know that Harris worked there." Well, the fact is, she did not. This was disgusting about these people. Not only did they steal the picture from a lady, somebody else. She was a woman who who worked at McDonald's back in the early 80s, a shift supervisor. Not only was that picture stolen, it was stolen, get this, from somebody's obituary archive website. Yes, I'm not even joking with you here. An obituary archive website. This lady's name was Suzanne Bernier. And now that Tony's back here, yeah, I was talking to this about talking to the Patriots.
I guess the Nazis got to my feed. Just saying.
Yes, they did. They swatted your feed or something like that.
They did swat my feed.
But
so anyway, I'm back. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's go into this a little bit now. Kamala, first off, is doing the Nazi. I'm surprised she didn't say Heil Biden or something. You know, a little color to her conversation. But here we go. Yeah, okay. Let's look at this.
Here's that McDonald's photo, and you saw the Progress Matters site. This these lefties are on Facebook. Going,
yeah.
Case closed. Now the cult can rest. Well, turns out that this is the actual picture it came from, but it gets worse. You know what this picture came from, Tony? Right?
It came from a private feed from a. She's dead. She's passed.
Yes. It came from.
She's no longer amongst us. Yeah.
It came from this. This is Susan Bernier. She passed on a while ago. She passed on young, by the way, which is sad. She was only born in 1966. Susan Bernier, The Growing Years. You go here, and this is where people can put pictures of her. You scroll down a little bit, and these are her earlier years. Placed in this was a picture of her posing as an employee of McDonald's for her shift. Look familiar?
Yeah.
I mean, there it is. Look, does that look familiar?
So, I wish I could say I'm surprised. I'm just not surprised. I mean, these people have no level of depravity or, I don't even know how to describe this because this is disrespectful. This goes against every value they say they stand for, right?
Well,
I mean,
you've heard since Trump was running for president against Hillary Clinton, if you're a Trump supporter, you support blah blah blah. He's a disgusting human being. He'll stoop to any low level. He has never tried to justify his lie by having his campaign superimpose his face over a dead person. Someone who died young, for that matter.
Yeah.
That's the kind of disgusting human beings you're dealing with in that side. That's why the neocons are gravitating that way.
Well, it is, and well, the neocons would never. Look. Truth be told, those who follow me. By the way, I did a great interview. We should promote it with Susan Olsen and her friend Josh over the weekend, where we cover a lot of issues relating to the 9/11 attacks. And suffice it to say, I think, when I talk about someone doing things behind the scenes to kind of allow the 9/11 attack to happen, I'm pretty sure it's the neocons. Just saying. I don't want to cast aspersions, but I'm just saying, based on kind of how things played out, the neocons leaving to the Democrat Party is a good thing. Good riddance. Go with Satan, because that's who you're with. And as we said before here on the program, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and Dick Cheney. What a combination! That is a winning combination if I've ever heard one. So that's great.
Yeah, a winning combination like the Chicago White Sox of this year, which, by the way, went 41 and 121. That's like that broke the record. That broke the modern day record for most losses in a season. I don't know how
well deserved.
Yeah, I don't know how many that the Democrats are going to take this year, but this campaign, I said it before, she's an albatross to that campaign, to that party, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, and I see that NBC the folks are talking in the chat about the rally. Did you know that during their coverage, that is NBC, MSDNC or MSNBC, whatever they are, they actually ran B-roll of the Nazi rally of 39 in parallel to the Trump one.
Yes, they tried to legitimize this as a news story.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners.
Oh, okay. Here you go. Now, here's something that MSNBC has been doing, pulling their anti-Semitic crap over the years. And not only that, these people support National Socialists. So here I'm thinking MSNBC would probably be in support of this 1939 rally they so demonize at this point, because rightfully so, it should be demonized. But the fact is, they're demonizing Trump over this, when in fact they're the ones who are espousing socialist values. They're the ones
Oh yeah.
who are siding with the anti-Semites, and not only the ones here, but the ones around the world.
So yeah, let's hit that real quick. I see George. Hey, good morning, George.
Morning, George.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Patriots.
Yes, good morning. And see, I'm wearing your outfit. You're gonna have to change the numbers here soon. You're gonna have to upgrade everything. So George, we're just talking about the Democrat. I don't even want to. The propaganda. So, Chris, can you come up with a picture of Kamala in her brown shirt, Nazi garb, real quick, just to have a contrast, so we can see the color of freedom? And I'm using, I saw my friend Chris Plant last week. I always say I credit him with using the air quotes freedom. So where'd George? Did George drop off? Anyway. Oh, there's George. Anyway, so I don't know if you come up with the Kamala. So if you can come up with the Kamala thing, that'd be great. But I just want to contrast the fact that, oh, by the way, George, did you hear that the mullahs and other Arab leaders, or I should not say Arab, I should say Muslim leaders in Michigan endorsed Trump?
Yep, that was big.
So I'm scratching my head here, trying to understand how the Jews showing up at Madison Square Garden, showing the Israeli flag, actually posting their prayer for Trump on X, the Islamic leaders in Dearborn going against the Democrat Party and saying, no, we're with Trump. And how is it we're supposed to believe somehow, George, that Trump's the bad guy here?
Well, they keep on pushing their narrative, and it's not going to stop until, even if he swears in, they'll keep on going, and they're not going to stop.
Well, that's the plan.
I personally think, this rally was, it made history, put it that way.
Yeah, no doubt.
That means there were black Nazis there, Puerto Rican Nazis,
Jewish Nazis. Yep,
that's right, Jewish Nazis.
There we go. They're all Nazis.
20 of our people there.
But what they're none of. There were no socialists there.
They were amazed. They couldn't believe how powerful the group is that they had there. Like I said, we had 20 of our members there from all over the United States that went.
There you go.
Good.
There you go. So that's what I'm saying. It's like the more they attempt to demonize, the more I think their own duplicity and satanic beliefs show up, because I think it's very clear that since now I don't want to get overconfident. Get out and vote. Everybody go out and vote. I voted the first day I could here in North Carolina. I don't know when you can vote, George. I think you guys started.
I did mine last Monday. It was the first day.
So,
yes.
I think we're all getting out there, and the idea is you vote early, and then you go get someone else to vote later. We're not the Democrats. We don't vote again. Just saying. Okay. But we do want to get others, like, go help someone get to the polls, drive them to the polls the day of the election. I'll be doing that here in North Carolina. So we've got to be steadfast on it. But back to the rally real quick. The issue to me is that the left obviously demonizes anybody that disagrees with them. Kamala Harris, in this one rally over the weekend, I don't know if you have that, Chris, where I quoted her. She's been attacked in multiple of her own rallies, to include at a black church, where basically she was called a piece of.
Oh yeah.
And she got really upset. You could see that she was looking around, looking back, and she shut her binder, and she was unhappy. Well, not there's nothing wrong with that. I think the hemorrhoids alone would make her unhappy, but I digress. So I think that, someone like her doing what she does, and then, and oh, by the way, the other thing I noticed, and George, you've seen people like her. We've seen people like her in our career. They are entitled. They get into these senior positions, and they will never accept criticism. So, and that's why she's had like 90% turnover in all of her staffs, which came up the other day. And so she can't do that. She can't be dismissive and prissy in the face of the public. So she's got to really endure that, right? I mean, she's got to really, hey, there's Sea of Mud. Love your shirts. I'll wear one tomorrow, I promise, by the way. So I love your shirts too, but I had to wear this, because George sent me this too, and I love this, by the way. So I do actually wear this around. By the way, George, this is my cigar smoking jacket now. So just letting you know that I enjoy a good cigar wearing your jacket. So
they're pretty good quality. But the whole thing is with Kamala and Tampon Tim. I saw Mike Walsh.
There it is. There it is.
Yep, there it is.
There's Hair Harris.
She's in the brown shirt, obviously. Let's hear this. You want to hear this?
Let's hear this.
Is kind of fun. Good. Yes.
Sig Heil. Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Let me get the volume up here.
As a certain former president would say, yes, we can.
Oh, Obama, trying to invoke Obama.
So yes, we can, and yes, we will. And we will win because together, and this is about all of us, we are fighting for America's future. And we understand the opportunity we have before us to turn the page.
There it is. There is a piece of
fear.
I know.
God, man. So embarrassed. He's laughing. Ready to laugh.
Oh my.
She's shaking her head like, yes, I am.
Yep.
Yes, I am. Yes.
You can't bring joy to this campaign or this rally.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
She doesn't know how to handle this. She just didn't know.
Even the thing with Beyonce. So as Beyonce just spoke, and then she left, and half of the people left because everybody was there to see Beyonce.
Oh, I know. Let's talk
People
about
leave
that
for
real quick,
rallies
but I want to hit the folks in the chat are actually people in the chat are commenting on how ill-fitting her suit is. Well, I'll say this about it. At least the Nazis had Hugo Boss to help tailor their outfits. Apparently she goes to Walmart for hers, just saying. But let's go back to the 30,000 showed up in Atlanta and thought they were going to get a Beyonce concert, and they got a Beyonce Bronx cheer. Right, George?
Yep. I fooled again.
Oh, I'm also under the impression that I don't think Beyonce even thought she was going to be performing. The idea was, well, I'm going to be like the other celebrities and just go out and speak for Kamala Harris, but I have something else to do, so I got to leave after that. Well, it probably plays to the morons who actually went there more than the Democrat Party, or the fact that
morons who actually went there started leaving right after they got there when they saw there was no concert.
My guess is they were led to believe she was going to pay by these people.
Yeah, I listened to the advertising for the event. They ran it, and oh, by the way, did you know that she paid Beyonce $10 million for that 3-minute whatever it was?
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing.
Oh my God.
The prices are going up. Prices, she only paid like Lizzo like $3.2 million. And she got a lot of flatulence and a free airplane ride out of it. I guess it's her own airplane. But anyway, apparently Beyonce is even higher level. And so, Beyonce basically said, you can give me a check towards the cause of my condo or house in California. And so she paid a lot of money. So I guess, I don't know. George, do you think she should have got at least one song out of $10 million?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the only song she got was from Bruce Springsteen.
And that's another comment.
Oh God. Oh man, did you want to hit that, Chris? I mean, you're the rock and roll guy here, so.
Okay, yeah. I never liked Bruce Springsteen from the beginning. I wasn't a big fan. I like a few of his songs. I know and people sit through 4 hours worth of his concerts. I can't sit through 2 of his songs in a row. No, that's the worst.
I'm on fire.
I got to tell you something real funny. I went to an event and I saw Congressman Mike Walsh there.
I love Mike. Mike and our friends. I love Mike.
Yeah,
Mike
he kept on saying, "Remember, my name is Walsh with a T,
not Walls."
Yeah, don't degrade him by saying Walls. Yeah, I know.
Well, let's see.
He kept on saying, I think he said it about 10 times, which was funny. It was pretty good.
Yeah. So did Bruce Springsteen become he looks like Yoko Ono in so many ways and sings like her. Do you think maybe that he secretly married her behind the scenes and they've been rubbing off on each other? Just saying.
That's going to be gross. Again, as long as they don't do duets, that should be fine.
I don't know. Maybe you could like George. You guys down there in Florida need a lot of land claim. Maybe you could have Yoko and Bruce come down and sing, and it would like just take down trees like a mile. Just like start singing, and it just wipes it all out. So
yeah, they could do that with their singing, guaranteed.
Yeah,
it's
good.
just amazing how they're trying to fool people, which doesn't work, and they keep on doing the same thing over and over again. And they try to take, the big thing was the abortion thing, right? And now they're pushing the thing about the Nazi back again, and they just keep on pulling these straws.
It's embarrassing.
Patriots, you just saw it for yourself. You saw and so let me ask you, George, do you think that her staff didn't understand that she would look like Goebbels on stage with that literally she picked the Nazi brown? I mean, that's Nazi brown.
Well,
it's not like an off brown or a tan.
No, it's that color.
That's the color of the Nazis.
The brown shirt. That's the color of the brown shirts.
Anybody's seen Hogan's Heroes? You know that. And by the way, this is the same weekend where they were trying to compare the Trump rally with the 1939 National Socialist Supporters rally. And that's what happened at MSG. And they're wearing and she's wearing the same colors. Here's another thing.
Literally.
What kind of people are at these Harris rallies anyway? They're pretty horrible themselves.
Paid people.
Yeah. Did you? But I mean, the non-paid. There's a campaign.
Yeah, that's right. She got paid, like they showed the record, $1,000, $3,000. I saw this one, the one that got in this kid's face.
Right. Yeah. Well,
let's show
this is a campaign worker.
Horrific.
I believe her last name is Bowen or something like that.
They're trying to
yelling at a baby.
Yeah. So kudos to the black woman. I don't know who she is, but a lot of folks are saying no matter what side you're on, that's the right thing to do. Is just
I agree with
pull
her.
that person out. So God bless her. But with that said, who does that? Who does that sort of thing? And that's a Kamala Harris person. And I don't think it's that person they're claiming. She's older. This is someone in their late teens or early 20s. And clearly with more attitude than brains, just saying. So, wow.
But these are the people that this is their attitude. It's the attitude. And she's still screaming at the kid.
Yeah.
It's their attitude. It's what they think of the rest of us.
Yeah, I want to hit that too, because the two of the stupidest people in the world had a live stream talking about the Trump rally. And those two stupid people are AOC, which is like, my muffins in there, my 3-day-old muffins have more intelligence than AOC, and Tim Walz, who probably, he would have been a good janitor back in the 60s at high school. Just saying, nothing wrong with being a janitor. Janitors are very important. Tim Walz has got that janitor vibe. Just saying, Tim, you missed your calling, really. Anyway, but I digress. There's them going back and forth on a live stream talking about how because AOC was upset about how that comedian made fun of Puerto Rico.
Oh,
who cares? Who cares? I mean, by the way, I think it was bad judgment because I don't know if he knew. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. The second largest concentration of Puerto Ricans in the world, other than Puerto Rico, is New York City. Just saying.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if that was the best joke, but do I care? I don't care. It's comedy. There they are. Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, that's
First, I told you to put up a warning before you put up things like that.
Okay,
God.
I'm sorry. Spit up
look at
coffee
that.
warning.
Oh my God. Look at that. Oh my God. These people are like cartoon characters. Speaking
badly
of
drawn one.
Badly drawn. But speaking of people who aren't cartoons, here's Mike McCormick. Good morning, Mike.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good morning, Mike. Mike wrote a great book. There it is. I'm holding it, and we're showing it. The case to impeach and imprison Joe Biden. Which, boy, oh boy, we're one step closer to that. I think after a week from tomorrow, I'm hoping.
Fingers crossed on that.
No, it's going to be a different home for him, but that's another story for another
different
day.
home. Well,
yes.
Anything that has tapioca and someone who washes him every day, he'll be fine.
I have a question for Mike.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to invoke the 25th Amendment to Biden, make her number 47 president?
Great question. Great
Right?
question.
I don't think so. I think he's got enough juice still left to stand in until he'll be the president through the election. I think that was
But
probably
it's
the
11
deal.
weeks after election time. You figure they'll satisfy all the black people about her being the first black Indian president for the United States.
No, I think he's got enough dirt on other people that would try to do that.
That I know about.
I actually thought about this. I thought about this a while ago, and I believe we brought it up here on the show. I did ask the question, we did ponder it, but this would change. And Mike, I think you're right here, because at this point, Joe Biden sounds like he's really torqued off that they kicked him off the ballot, or they made him voluntarily step down. Had it been
he seems very angry. Yeah.
Had it been Biden saying he wanted to retire, but had it been Biden saying he wanted to retire, then this would have been a good question. And he could have stepped down. The election would have been over. Or if he ran and lost the election, he could have stepped down, let Kamala Harris become that first woman president for 2 months, and then make their history.
Hold on. Let me ask that question, because Chris, that's the thing. So Mike, let's just play a little alternate future history here. So what if just, well, fingers crossed, Trump wins? Do you think out of desperation, Biden would do two things based on both his interest and the Democrat Party? First, do you think he's going to pardon Hunter before he leaves office? That's my first question.
Absolutely. I think he's doing that.
I think so too.
I agree.
He should.
Yeah,
because he's protecting.
And I'll let
family.
you explain both these, but let me ask second question. Second question: do you think out of pressure from Nancy Pelosi and her potted meat smelling breath, do you think that he will be pressured to resign after he pardons Hunter? Do you think he'll step down, say, I don't know, in December, and let Kamala be the first woman president, just to get that on the scorecard for him?
Yep. I agree with that.
I think that's a long shot. A couple of reasons. One, Kamala, as the vice president, certifies the election on January 6th. She may want to do that.
More coffee.
They may want to have her as in that role. And I don't think Joe will give it up. One thing he always said when he was vice president, he would never leave the vice presidency unless he was told to do something immoral. And if he was ever told to do something immoral that he disagreed with, then he would concoct an illness. So I don't think is there an illness in his future? Potentially. That would be how it would happen. He's so sick he can't go on.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I don't think he's on board with that, and I don't think his inner circle is on board with that. And frankly, after Trump wins, Obama and company, they don't have the juice to get him out of there. He'll stick it out.
Yeah, no, he
seems like he wants to stay January 20th. Yeah, that's clear.
Yeah, I mean, now again, had he ran and lost, then yes, it was a good shot. He was going to step down just for the ceremonial idea of letting the Democrats have that first woman president. This way, it could be in the history books. This is the ceremonial thing. Democrats are always into optics. They don't care. Look, they were going to lose the 1984 election. And by the way, Democrats lie when they say that Geraldine Ferraro was the first woman to get an electoral vote. In fact, the first woman to get an electoral vote as a vice presidential candidate was Tony Nathan back in 1972, when a rogue elector in Virginia, I believe it was Virginia, put his vote in for John Hosper as the Libertarian Party candidate. And it was Tony Nathan who got that first electoral vote. So the Democrats are lying about making history there too.
What about Raskin? Raskin says he's going to challenge on January 6th.
And he will.
I want to hit that. Yeah. So let's hit the Raskin thing, but I want to finish with the Biden thing first there, George.
Okay,
no. Hold that, because I want you to ask that to Mike in 1 second. But my last question to Mike before we go to the Raskin thing, boy, oh boy, I have never seen a man who's wears one of those head bandanas more attractively, George, right? With that little bandana on, I mean, he could be a gangbanger and say, I don't know, the Crips or the Bloods. I mean, it's there he is.
Right.
That's a great look, by the way. I wish I could pull that look off. Don't
Not
you?
MS-13.
No, well,
I mean,
that's like
a star on top of there. You don't see that?
Yeah. No, that's like no, it's a pentagram. That's a satanic one. He's worshiping Satan there. He's got the Satan vibe going. But let's go back to, speaking of Satan, to Biden real quick. So Mike, What do you think Biden's going to do if Kamala loses? What do you think he's going to do? Because he's got, he'll be president technically. Well, he is technically. I always have to do he's technically president until the 20th of January. What will Biden do from the 6th of November to the 20th of January?
I think he's going to be working very feverishly to cover up his crimes and cover up the conspiracy and his fellow conspirators, working feverishly. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't affect us internationally. I hope it doesn't affect us nationally. I hope they don't come up with something really outrageous to divert attention away from what's coming. Because I think Trump. This is an amazing election. I worked in the White House in 2004 to get Bush reelected, to get in 2012 to get Obama reelected. I was there in 2016 when Trump won, and the wave of support, the movement is always late, and there is no way Kamala Harris has any momentum whatsoever right now. So the momentum is shifting big time for Trump. I mean, he's going out to Albuquerque. He's going into Virginia. This is, they're spreading the map. They're outflanking. They're outflanking the Steele is what I think they're trying to do. I hope it works. I am concerned about what the Democrats can do. Harris, I got to look at her schedule this week. She's got 3 events per day, every day this week except tomorrow. Tomorrow's an off day. She's got one event in D.C. So that's a week out from the election. She's in D.C. basically for meetings. What are they telling her? This is what we've got set up for the Steele? I hope not. But that's
I hope not.
Probably what she's going to be learning.
I got to do note to one of the Trump campaign folks right now. I forgot to do it.
Oh, here's you want to speak? Here's some breaking news.
Warn people when you do that, for God's sake. Man, I didn't have coffee in my mouth.
I have breaking news. How about that? And we're going to be hearing this tomorrow on this particular program, Wake Up Patriots. Dr. Jerome Corsi is coming back with proof that there's another state with a voter roll algorithm and clone voters. This was found. The numbers are there. It's Arizona. And they're soon to expose Georgia as well. So Arizona and Georgia are the next two states. Dr. Corsi will be with us and Karen tomorrow. Unfortunately, Paul is not going to be here tomorrow. So Dr. Corsi is going to be taking his place, and we're going to be talking to him about this algorithm during the show tomorrow with Karen, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But that's it. Arizona and Georgia are added to that list of states with those corrupt voter roll algorithms. Tony and I, we're going to be talking to Jerry about that tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, let me do the read. Speaking of Paul. Paul Stone, check out Paul Stone and Colonial Metals. That's why we're here. Paul allows us the time and space to do this and actually talk about what he does. Paul's normally on, but I guess he won't be on tomorrow, but that's okay. colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed-Henry. You see it down there scrolling. Chaos is coming. We're going to talk right now about what to expect. Expect chaos. We're going to talk about Jamie Raskin. And man, oh man, I think when you consider what a good-looking man he is. I mean, no, Ed is good-looking. I'm only talking about Jamie, but look at Ed. Go to Ed's website. He doesn't wear wags on his head. That's right. He's always nice and dapper. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised he's not yelling at me for wearing T-shirts on his show, because we're doing this for Ed. This is Ed's show. This is Ed Henry's Wake Up Patriots. So whenever you think of waking up, think of Ed. But I digress. Let's get back on the issue of metals, gold, silver, precious metals. Call 800-805-4034. Check out what you can do to solidify your family's future. Basically, you can make it bulletproof by having a variety of options and things that will help you sustain yourself no matter what happens. So Trump wins, wonderful. The economy doesn't roll around and turn around immediately, and there's going to be chaos. So we need to accept that as a fact, and you need to act based on facts and not on emotions. And while the emotions are going to be good, we're going to be happy, you need to be secure. So secure your future by calling colonialmetalsgroup.com or calling them 800-805-4034 or going to them to the website, colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed-Henry. There you go. Back to Jamie Raskin. Every time I hear that name, I think of Jamie Foreskin. Is that bad?
Oh, man.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
You're talking about my congressman. I went out early voted a couple of days ago. I voted for Cheryl Riley. She's standing up
Good.
against Jamie Raskin. God bless her. She's got some courage to stand up to that guy, which is the deep swamp here. And he's pretty well established here for a couple of years. So
I'm familiar with your part of the country. Trust me, I know that area.
Yeah.
But George, you had a question about him, right? Didn't you want to launch into
Yeah,
that?
he said he made a statement that they're going to refuse to get Trump in office. Number one, they're going to do everything possible to challenge the electoral votes on January 6th, and also that they want to find something on him, like they could do the 14th Amendment, that he was, guilty of a crime or something like that.
Like this one.
This is what he said. He did everything, and he said before he does the challenge, he makes sure on January 6th that they have the National Guard present and everything else, because he's feared for his, for the lives of people.
Well, they could have done that in 2021, but hey, here's Raskin.
Again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient, because what can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6th, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job. And
All right, here you go. Now think about this. He's trying to, like you said, he's trying to invoke that 14th Amendment, Section 3. They've been trying to pull this, but here's what they're going to do. They're going to do whatever they can to try to keep Trump from being elected. Remember when he got elected first time, and they try to pull out the celebrities again to say, oh, we're appealing to electors not to vote for Trump. They're going to pull out fake electors. They're going to pull out things. They're going to pull every trick in the book just to show their following, hey, we're going to do anything we can, and they're going to try to make his presidency as miserable as they made his presidency from 2018 to 2020.
Yeah, I think that's what the Madison Square Garden event was about. I mean, Trump's ahead of this. That was an August 2024, speech by Raskin. So that's what Trump is doing. First of all, they're outflanking the Steele. I think they're going to pull a flip in Virginia. I think they're going to get a red flip for Trump, and I think they're going to get a senator whose name is Hung Kao ahead of Tim Kaine.
I know him. He's a good guy. I've met him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good guy.
Yeah,
Really good.
and I think they're going to really surprise people how there's so much more out there that support Trump. So that nullifies whatever Raskin can pull. I mean, if there's a broad public support for Trump from now through the end of November, including the election, they can't do much. They're, behind the scenes at the White House, as a stenographer, watching the press, the White House the politicians are always scared of public opinion. It terrifies them deep down. So the public opinion, if it's broad and strong for Trump, they really won't be able to do much. They can talk their big game for their funders and their supporters, but that's about as much as they can do, is just talk. They won't really be able to do much. We'll see what happens with the National Guard in the city, and that kind of that heavy-handed approach to the inauguration. But I think MAGA movement has matured to the point where people know what to expect, and Trump has matured his politically matured to know what to expect, and they're ready for the attacks. And I think the Democrats they were unprepared for this campaign. They were unprepared for the fact that he fended off the lawfare, he fended off these assassination attempts, and he's just growing stronger and stronger. The Bobby Kennedy affiliation is a huge step.
Oh, yeah.
Huge. So, the Democrats, by and large, are starting to crumble, and it won't take much to really push through their resistance.
So, well, the other thing too, Mike, I'm friends with Tulsi Gabbard, so I'm very proud of Tulsi owning up and admitting that, hey, her party sucks. And by the way, she was too good looking to be a Democrat anyway. We all agree on that, right?
Great.
Yes, yes.
She was just way too attractive. Like, are you sure you want to be with the purple hairs? I mean, so I'm glad she saw the light in more than one way. But
the Democrats are
and
not
by the way, Kamala don't surf. Just saying.
Yeah.
She's being served. Hey, I have to jump in here too. You guys talking about your Congress members, the people in your district who are challenging Democrats. We have a Pat Ryan here who's been lying about the Republicans and the abortion ban that they think that they think Trump wants, which is already debunked and everything else. Well, I did my early voting too, and we have a Congresswoman who's challenging Pat Ryan in a very, let's say, close knit, right down the middle Republican Democrat area. And that's Allison Esposito, and she is going to be. And hopefully she will win her district as well. And same with Lori and of course Mr. Tsao and everything else. We're gonna, maybe the Republicans expand this. And it's important that the Republicans expand the House control because there are going to be problems within. There are going to be some of the neocons are still going to bow out, just like McCarthy and some of the others did. And you're going to have some problems. But if you have a larger majority, it'll be less of a problem getting legislation through and helping restore this economy. And of course, fix the border.
As long as they do that red line, if they vote straight down, no matter, even if they hate the congressmen that are there and everything else, we can straighten it out after the primary. But he needs everybody that it just goes straight down Republican, and that would solve a big problem. And the MAGA movement has to understand that. I mean, it's up to 43 million people have voted already, early voting already.
Yeah.
And
so here where I live. Where I live in Chewan County, the population is just a tick under 14,000. We've already had 30% of the eligible voting population, about 10,000 voters. We're older. We have an older population here, about 10,000 registered voters. 30% of them have already voted, and apparently most of them are Republicans. Just saying. So yeah, people need to get out and vote. Show what you're doing and get out there and do it. So it's good. And there's Lori, my friend Lori. Literally, I'm looking at her house right now. I'm looking out my window. And I'm looking at her house. So she's my actual neighbor. Lori Buckout is running for Don Davis's congressional seat. Don is a do-nothing Democrat. All fits together, right? And she's in a position to win North Carolina District 1. I was just texting with someone about this, by the way, one of the senior members of the RNC. Lori has a potential of flipping a seat that's been in the Democrat control since 1885. So it's no big deal. And this is the only competitive race in North Carolina. Everything is all settled. This one's competitive. So everybody needs to get out. If you have anybody who's in a competitive race, go out there, do something. I was actually on with your campaign on Saturday. I'm running for office too here. Full disclosure, I'm running for county commissioner. So yes, I benefit too from being out and about. But I was out with she and her campaign folks over the weekend doing things to help her get across the finish line. So there you go. So you all need to do that too.
Oh, what was it Donald Trump Jr. said at the rally? Vote like you're the third monkey in line at the at Noah's Ark, something like that.
I got there's a little bit. So I got a new book coming out in about a month or so, just after the election, but hopefully before Christmas. One of the things I talk about in there is the Vindman twins getting tied in with.
Let's talk about those knuckleheads. Yeah.
The Biden crime family. Well, one of the Vindmans is running for Congress. Running for Congress in Virginia's 7th. Right. And Derek Anderson is his opponent.
I know Derek. Yeah, I know
Derek.
Derek.
Flip
He's a good
that
guy.
seat. I think Derek's going to flip that seat too. He's a
are
strong campaigner.
Frack.
And Vindman is a deep state operative, and they were just an awful operation that they put in there.
If ever Sodom and Gomorrah had faces, that's them. Sodom and Gomorrah, right there. That's them. That's right. That's the face of Sodom and Gomorrah, right there.
My God.
Right, guys?
I would say these guys are the guys in the playground with the windowless white van. So stay away from them if you see them.
The best one is that when President Trump gets in, he can re-enlist all these generals that retired, right?
He's got some in mind. He's got some in mind, I do believe, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get him, I think he's going to send him either for treason or something like that because of what they all pull.
He's going to go
Kelly.
both ways, George. He's got generals who he knows and trusts and did a good job for him. I know I can't say it by name because I would get them in trouble.
Right.
But I think they're going to come back and do the right thing and help. Others need to be brought back on active duty, and I don't know, maybe court-martialed.
Both Marshall,
I
yeah.
think Mark Milley comes to mind. Mark,
Yep.
who is I know Mark personally, and I'm disappointed, very disappointed, based on the fact that he was my contact. I had a number of high-level contacts during the 2016 to 2017 transition team. Yeah, that's them. And see, they're saying "smell my finger" there, so it's like I don't want to.
That's their favorite game.
Pull my finger and smell my finger. So anyway, but yeah, but back to Mike's point. So there's a chance I think that district can be, won because the Vindman brothers. I don't want to get in trouble and get Ed in trouble because this is Ed's show. But those people literally, as you point out, are deep state warriors. Their job is to maintain control and the direction of the Leviathan that is a combination of the Democrat Party, the permanent bureaucracy, and now the neocons, which the neocons have always been kind of in their corner. Would you agree with me on that, Mike?
Yeah. And, one of the people that was sort of instrumental in getting Alexander Vindman into the White House was General Kelly. He was White House chief of staff then. So Vindman, what Vindman was doing was he was the Ukraine area officer from 2008 to 2016. So he was based out of the embassy. Well, that's where the embassy was involved with the Biden crime families kickback schemes with Burisma, but also with the Metabiota, the biowarfare contractor that did the Ukraine biolabs. Vindman would have known about that. So he comes back to DC and then he gets inserted into the National Security Council on General John Kelly's watch, who was then White House Chief of Staff. And Kelly made it through he was out by December 2018, he was done because he was also deeply tied in with the Honduran drug dealing cartel guys that they got caught up, right? Trump arrested the Honduran president's brother, a guy named Tony Hernandez, was the guy who arrested the president was Juan Orlando Hernandez. He arrested him in December of 2018. Well, and this is all in my book, in the case of impeachment in prison. This is even prison part because this is treason. They're giving aid and comfort to our enemies, and the enemies are the cartels. And Kelly was in on it, and so was Biden, and so were other White House people.
So let's talk about that briefly because the John Kelly thing is problematic. I don't want to go into what I've already said about him. I've made several public interviews talking about what he did and what he didn't do. The last conversation I had with President Trump was just a couple months ago. We talked about John Kelly. The little time we had, we talked about John Kelly because I think most of the folks know that I was advising Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Joe Dunford, Mike Pompeo, and I figured out, and I went public. You guys can Google it. I said, the Russia collusion thing it's fake. It's all fake. My team figured it out. I went public the day that Trump found out he'd been spied on the 5th of March of 2017. It's on Fox News. I talk about Soviet level wrongdoing. Well, behind the scenes, then I'm quietly working because it's my job as an advisor to figure out how to prove the FBI's compromise. So I came up with an idea of how to do it. And then Mike Pompeo approved it. Joe Dunford approved it. But they said, you got to go talk to the president. So they said, but the only way you talk to the president, you got to go talk to that man, John Kelly. So I get a meeting with John and I lay out, I don't want to get into it. It's too complicated, but I laid out what I wanted to do and only President Trump could approve. You all know what John Kelly said to me in response? He said, Tony, I will never allow you to see the president because all you're going to do is inflame his instincts. Unquote.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. You mean get something done, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Well, I was right. We were right. And we would have proven a year earlier that the Russia collusion thing was a fake, and we would have had hard evidence, but he wouldn't let us do it.
So question, Tony, Mike, George, to all of you, what do you think John Kelly was protecting? Certainly wasn't the president.
The deep state.
Right.
He's protecting deep state, and you know the cartel connection that he was involved in. He was when he was running Southern Command. He was very close with the president of Honduras. They were smuggling cocaine in the United States by the ton, and Kelly knew it. And that's what became that cartel connection is what became the opening of the southern border under Biden in 2021. Trump came in and he put a stop to it, and they didn't like it. So the deep state had to realign, and Kelly was their guy inside, and Trump figured it out and got rid of him.
Well, so Trump was sold a bill of goods because John Kelly came recommended by some folks that I trust. And I don't know why they did it. And I was full disclosure, I was part of the Al Gray Mafia before Al passed. I know I'm not a Marine, but it's complicated. Basically, when I went to spy school, my class leader was a U.S. Marine Corps officer when I went through Camp Perry. And so I was inducted into the Marine Corps clandestine world. And so my job was to help the Marine Corps, what little they had, do the things they're supposed to do with clandestine stuff. But again, it's complicated. Anyway, John Kelly, as you all remember, was appointed first DHS. Remember that,
yes.
Mike? He was DHS.
Right. Yeah.
And he made some questionable choices over there regarding who he was bringing into the senior level. And nobody noticed. It's like, okay, there's some wacky choices. And to go by the way, his best friend, Jim Mattis. Jim Mattis tried to bring in Michelle Flournoy to be his deputy. Michelle Flournoy would have been Hillary Clinton's Secretary of Defense. So everybody went nuts when he did that. It's like, what the F are you doing?
Right.
I mean, there were real battles about this behind the scenes. And so someone compromised the Trump national security from day one. And then I was then being restricted from seeing the people I'd been advising under the Obama administration, believe it or not. So there's a lot there to unpack.
General Flynn was the first pick of Trump's vice president.
They had to get Mike out because he would have seen through all this pretty quick.
Yep. He warned them too.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's another thing. It's just like when Reagan was president. You had to appease the deep state or the party faithful at one point, or the party powers, if you will. And this is how Ronald Reagan, and some people might even some even think that Ronald Reagan turned his back on the true conservative movement back in the 80s. Part of that was allowing the deep state, if you will, the Republicans in power, to force him to bring in George H.W. Bush as his vice president, the former CIA director. So you look at it here, you could draw that same parallel with Mike Pence to maybe a lesser degree, if you will.
So look what Mitch McConnell's doing to all the senators. Okay.
No, George is right. I mean, George's point, I think a lot of those folks are brought in to be, and they've said it. By the way, they admitted this recently, George. They said there's no one there to keep Trump on the rails this time.
That's right. Amen to that. Yep.
Right.
Well, Mitch McConnell came out swinging in his new book. He was insulting Trump supporters. He was swinging at them, and he was insulting them by saying, "Well, they're less successful, so they're trying to pull down the power here." You know what? They are trying to pull down the power because the power is corrupt. The thing is, though, this book and everything comes out shortly after his sister-in-law had an accident that killed her. So keep in mind, a lot of what McConnell did over the many years, especially when he was married to Secretary Chow, and again, this is not on her, but the CCP had some control because a lot of her family was back in China. They could do whatever they want, and let's say manufacture an accident if they don't get their way, which I believe they did. And again, this is just me saying that. I have no evidence of it, but that's the MO. I'm sorry, it's the MO.
Ronnie Jackson was asked by President Trump to run the VA, and then what happened is he went to Kelly and told Kelly, "Oh, Trump was suggesting me to run the VA," and Kelly turned around and said, "No, we have somebody picked already, and it's all decided already." And he would have been. I mean, I know Congressman Ronnie Jackson personally, and he told me this, and I said, "What the F? It's unbelievable." I mean, the president tells you to have an appointment, and then they did the same thing with General Flynn with Previous. Said, no, you got to bring in Pence because he can help with the evangelical vote and all that stuff and everything. They just, because he didn't know, Trump did not know. He figured he came into a place and he would trust certain people, which
Right.
that was the word thing. And he should have went after
Yeah.
Hillary, and that was it. But he tried to do the right thing, and Hillary was the one that started the Russian collusion shit. Excuse
Yeah.
my language.
Well, we could have a whole show on that. As a matter of fact, it's Patriots are saying the Patriots are saying we need 2 hours. Yes, I agree with Universal 24. We agree too. Or 23. Universal 23. We are working on that. Ed's working on that. We'd like to bring back a full 2 hours a day, full all 5 days. But we're working on it. So anyway, we got to go. It's been an hour.
Mike,
And
pleasure meeting you, Mike. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
nice
Mike.
meeting you, George.
So so we'd like to have you both back soon. I mean, we got stuff coming up. A week from today is the last day before the election. Chris is the producer, but I'll try to make sure he gets everybody lined up.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things. It's going to be interesting. Now, I'm going to go on the record, a lightning round. If Trump wins, I predict the Democrats are going to be ungovernable. What do you think, Mike? And then to George.
I think the Democrats are going to be scared out of their minds for coming retribution.
I agree with
I
Mike.
call it justice. I don't call it retribution.
Justice.
I call
Justice.
it you
Correct.
broke the law.
Justice.
If you
Should
broke
say
the law,
justice. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they're
How
going
about you, George? What do you
to
think?
call it retribution. We're going to call
I
it
know that,
justice. It's going to be
Yeah.
justice, right?
Oh yeah.
I hope
George, what do you think?
everybody gets what they deserve. That's it. Because what they did to this country, it's unbelievable what I have. I mean, you too, Tony. I mean, all these years, Mike, all these years that I grew up and watched the stuff, it just, I mean, I was in the Trade Center when the planes hit too, and it's just amazing what all this.
Yeah. So let me post that real quick before we go. Chris, do you have a link, or I'll post a link. We did a deep dive over the weekend for my friend, our friend Susan Olson, and on her show.
The Crusher
podcast. Because
podcast.
I wasn't ready to do
It's
this.
the Crusher podcast.
But George, to your point, what's that?
It's the Crusher podcast.
The Crusher podcast. Yeah, I've got the link here. Let me bring it up. So George, you'll get a lot out of it, and Mike, you'll learn a lot too, because you've been in the middle of these things. You got to put it up there. So the Crusher podcast.
I got to talk to you,
Josh
Tony,
and
about
Susan,
that one.
our friends. There it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So listen to this, and we'll get back together this week. Chris, you have the link up for folks to go to in the chat.
I'm doing that right away. It's going to be right here. The Crusher
Right.
podcast is right in the chat.
Good.
I'll get it. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. So, folks, check this out, because what George is talking about is very important. And by the way, this links back to what Mike's been talking about regarding the deep state. We go through, this is a long interview, but I think you'll learn a lot. They asked me questions about the history of the intelligence community, defense intelligence, and kind of how we did what we did and how we got there. The bottom line, George, to your point, because we were a really like off the books unit. This is like the movies. We were way off the books. Nobody knew we existed. So when we started picking over rocks and seeing that Al Qaeda was not only going to hit us again, they were here. We weren't supposed to find that. I'm convinced at this point that because we were so far off the reservation, given so much latitude to just go what we're supposed to do, George, we weren't supposed to find that Al Qaeda was already here, and that's why they came after us so hard to cover up what happened. I still believe that. I don't know if you all agree with that.
Yeah.
That's my strong opinion. I go through my rationale in this podcast. I think you'll learn a lot from it. So anyway, and Mike, I think you'd enjoy it from the perspective of just while you were doing things with Bush, I was doing things behind the scenes with Bush 43, and there's a lot of parallels to I think the chaos we both witnessed.
Oh, the event that I can tell you,
It's like seeing seeing an orb from different perspectives. We all see the orb, but we all have a different perspective on it.
Right.
So
Right.
I think you'll see that. Anyway, Mike, again, thanks for being here. You got to get his book. And what's the name of your new book coming out, Mike?
The new book is An Almost Insurmountable Evil.
That's on Amazon, right? The first book. I gotta get it.
The first book is.
It's
that's
being
where I got
written
it.
now.
First book's on Amazon.
All right, I get it.
First book is Case to Impeach and Imprison Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, the case. Say that again, because that's a great title. The case of insurmountable.
I volunteer for the firing squad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the name of it again, Mike? What's the name of your book again?
An Almost Insurmountable Evil.
Wow, great title. So we'll definitely promote that.
Yeah,
George,
right.
anything you want to promote right now before we go?
No, I'd like to have a conversation about 9/11, about what I got on there that day. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well,
Volkswagens that weren't there. They were all owned by Muslims.
I'll have time to talk. Yeah, we'll set up a time to talk later this week. I've got to get back to.
Yeah, go ahead. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for the
Thank you. And by the
opportunity.
way, a quick shout out to Cherie Curry. I'll be out Wednesday, by the way. Chris, you're going to be solo on Wednesday because I got to fly out to LA.
Okay.
And I'll be joining our friend Cherie Curry for her final concert. Wow. At Whiskey A Go Go. They call it the whiskey now, but I like the go go part personally. Just saying, I don't know why they dropped that. And what she'll be having a concert out there with her sister Maria, and Sharia. Marie, is it Marie? It's Marie, right? Marie.
Yeah, Marie and Cherie. Yeah, not Sharia. Yeah.
Not that Sharia. No, we don't want to get her in trouble. Marie and Cherie will be there at the Whiskey A Go Go.
Hey, you might see
John Ford Coley, her son will be playing, Jake will be playing, and it'll be a great kind of celebrating her 65th birthday, as well as her kind of deciding to hang up the vest and go focus on saving kids from being butchered by gender advocates. So God bless her for deciding to do that. But we'll be covering that as it goes too. So
yes, we'll be working on that.
Yeah, we'll be working on that. So anyway, man, what a great show. Thank you all for being here. Patriots, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll work
Talk
on
to you
it.
guys soon.
I'll get your book today, Mike. Appreciate it.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, George.
And Patriots, we'll see you tomorrow morning for another great show.
You betcha.
Well then, hang in there, drink some more coffee, and have a great day.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for being here, George.
I appreciate it. Oh, I got some good stories for you, Tony. Trust me. I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
We'll